Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff from Enjoy Life Traveling. I am excited about today and what we're going to do. I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be answering your questions, but I'm going to be also showing you some of the big things here. So some of the intricacies of the machines and how to play them and what to look for, because there's some sort of tricks in there that I see people missing. We're going to be learning the volatility of the machines, and I know I've talked about this, but I'm actually going to show you the sites that I'm talking about. I'm going to show you where the volatility is. And I'm going to be showing you the exact machines you can be looking for, so you're not guessing. And I know I've heard this from you guys in the comments that you're trying to find the machines and which ones are the low volatility. I'm going to show you the machines so you can look for them. So stay tuned. We're about to have a lot of fun. Some of these are more difficult for people that hasn't cruised before, and some of them may be a little easier. It's going to appeal to a lot of people, and so I'm just going to start from the beginning. And someone had asked that they're retired and they can cruise a lot, but they haven't cruised, they haven't done the casino, and so they're kind of curious what that's like. How do you start the process? And that's using your CPass card. Your CPass card needs to go into the machine, and it needs to make sure that that it's registering your points. That's one of the most important things there. So by putting that pass in there, it'll change colors. If it changes to red, that means your CPass is not in right. So you want to make sure that CPass is in correctly so you get your points, and that's when you're doing for the cruising and trying to get the comps, that's the key element right there. So you can go to your casino host and they will get you a card to kind of walk you through it. At least that's what they did with us when I first got going there. It's not real hard to do. I'm going to go ahead and put a video in here about how we did it on the last cruise. The only problem was that they were having problems on the last cruise. So we were on Wonder of the Seas, and we were making a video to show this very thing. And sure enough, their system was down. And normally you have to do this within the first 2 days to get some free money, because they actually will put some free money on there. And they couldn't get to it until like day 4 or 5. They had some issues, and they took care of us. I think a lot of people didn't even ask about it, and so may have just lost that money if they did know about it. But anyway, I'll put that in here as just sort of a step-by-step, and you may get a little bit different voice. I may just do a voiceover on that so you can hear what it is while I'm doing it. So your CPass is in there. You can see it's green, and you're going to go over here and just touch the accounts button, and from there you'll be able to go in, and it kind of tells you personal banker, and you can put in your PIN. Now, when you're first starting out, your PIN is your two-digit birth day and two-digit birth month, and then you'll change that to whatever it is that you're actually going to make your 4-digit PIN. And obviously, we're going to blank that out here so you don't have that information as to what we're going to use, but that's all right here for you. And then again, when you're first starting out and you've got that in there, there's some free money, and normally you can go in and there's you can transfer the information, or excuse me, transfer the money into the machine, and it's usually $2. Sometimes it can be more. And you see where it says room charge there. Normally there would be a transfer of the points that they give you. You can give their free money, their free play, and then at the end of the cruise, you'll also have an opportunity of the points that you've accumulated. You can cash those in for some more free play, and that does not go against what you've accumulated as far as to get free cruises. There's kind of a misconception on that you're having an either or situation, and that is simply not the case. It's one or the other. Now, again, we're having kind of fits here because normally we've got our free money by now, and we're not understanding why the computer's not working with us. So it's not the greatest example, but we're not going to be on another cruise for another month or so, and I wanted to get this information to you right away. So anyway, I hope this helped you. Again, if you're brand new, if you just go to the, well, not really the cashier, but more the casino host, and they'll give you a little card, or they'll just come over and help you. It's actually a very easy process, and they're very friendly. There's no shame in it, so don't worry about it. And again, just enjoy yourself. Another great question was about what is a hand pay, and a hand pay is a win over $1,200. Doesn't matter if you bet a little and got it, or you bet a lot and got it. $1,200, the person, instead of having a ticket come out, you will actually have the person come out from the casino. The machine will lock up, have a little thing on there, hand pay. They're going to come out and they're going to hand you that money bill by bill and count it out to you. So It's a fun feeling, but it's also not quite as fun because that means that the IRS is going to find out about it. So it's not like some of the other stuff. Yes, you're supposed to report everything. Of course we do that, but I'm just saying that not everybody does. So, yeah, it's gonna count, and the IRS is gonna want their share of that. So if you hit 1150, they don't know. If you hit 1200, then the tax forms come out along with those bills that they're going to bring, and you'll fill that information out. So, yeah, particularly if you're an American citizen, that's the way that's going to go down, and you're going to have to pay taxes on it. So I know some people have questions about that taxes. Now, I'm certainly not an accountant by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a tax person, don't know much about that at all. I can tell you that for most people, if you hit a $1,200 hand pay, unless you already itemized, that win is probably not enough for you to go back in and actually claim that. Because if you're going to claim it against your losses, you can request from the casino, and all the casinos for that year for that matter, to try to show sort of that back and forth of what you won versus what you lost. So that's open to you to do, and if you itemize already, that may be something worth looking at, but sometimes whatever you win isn't always worth what you're going to pay to have your taxes done. So again, not my field, but that's generally what I've seen. So something, before I get to more questions, one thing I wanted to add that I thought was important was what they call RTP, and that stands for return to player. And most of the machines, the average is set at about 96%. So, and the way they do it, you'd think it'd be based on 100. It's technically for every $1,000 in, 960 of it comes back to the player. Now, you'd think that would feel a little better than what it usually does when you're at the casino, but that is what it is. But I bring it up because sometimes people get over-focused on that once you've discovered that. And so if a machine's at 93%, you're thinking, well, I shouldn't play that machine because it's high volatility. And I wanted to let you know, because I've discussed volatility a few times, and I will again in this video. Volatility has nothing to do with the RTP. Nothing at all. What that's going to tell you is, and on an RTP, if that was set at 92 versus 96 versus 99, you would never notice the difference on it, because that is based on the aggregate intake of everything that machine's going to have, and that machine's going to have thousands and thousands, probably millions of spins that it's going to go on for the life of that machine. And that's what it's programmed to pay out on. The reason it doesn't affect your volatility is that a volatility means that it's going to do it at a more even pace. If it's low volatility, you're going to have your wins and losses that are a little more, balanced. Whereas if you've got a high volatility machine, you're talking about something, you're going to have a lot of dead spins. You're going to get bonuses. You might get bonuses that are zero. Not that you couldn't do that with even a better machine. I'm just saying that it's more prevalent and can be more frustrating for sure. Knowing that that's the case, if you hear about an RTP, don't let that affect what you're doing. So another great question that came up is, I put out about the volatility, and it's like, well, how do you know what the volatility is? And the way I like to do it, and you've got people that do this as sort of a secondary, a third-party thing, but a lot of times the manufacturers will actually put that out there. So Every Machines, that's EVRI, Every Machines, you can go to their website, and it'll tell you if it's a low, a medium, a high, a low to medium, or a medium to high volatility machines. I've seen another company does like a 1 to 6 rating, and to show you the volatility of it, 1 being low, 6 being high. And some of them just use the words, just low, medium, high, 1 to 5. And other times you have to really search and dig and kind of get people that are third-party kind of things that look into these things. And that's what I try to use. And sometimes you can just tell by looking at the machine. It's not foolproof, but you can tell sometimes just by a feel of what that machine is versus maybe some of the things that you've played, and see where it falls. So one of the games that I like to play is Pressure Luck, and I found Wicked Wheels on one machine. They didn't have Pressure Luck, and I'm looking at this game, and I'm looking at how they did the wilds and such like that, and I'm thinking this is the same. It looked very similar as far as the different jackpots and how they produced out there. And I thought, this is probably not a real high volatility machine. And we had a lot of fun. We played that one. That was kind of our go-to machine. And when I got home and just verified that, it was considered a low to medium or a 2. rating for that machine. Now, if I'm doing a machine and it's just I'm not feeling it, it wouldn't have mattered what I thought that machine was if I'd have played it and like, all right, this isn't working for me. I'm going to just move on. And I don't mind. I'll stay at a machine sometimes even too long. But and a good case in point was I was on Radiance of the Seas. And again, going back to Pressure Luck, which I've had good success with, I couldn't get that machine to pay. You may have heard me talk about it in an earlier video about doing the Alaska cruise. And the first day, the first leg of that back-to-back cruise, we stopped gambling, and that was a machine that just was killing me. So I was like, all right, I'm done. We're going to do this on the second leg of the cruise and get the points up so I can get the free cruise offers. So that's how that played out. But again, going back to the volatility, there is lots of ways to find out. There's a lot of sources out there to find out, and sometimes you try to find out the right one when you're looking at the third parties. The best thing I like to do is I will see multiples. So if I find it, I'm looking for it, and I can't find anything from the websites, and I find somebody that's given a review on it that does this as a third party, I might look at somebody else and see what they say, and somebody else and see what they say, and see if those are basically falling in line. And if not, I'm going to do a little bit more research on it. So I do like to do these things and put research. And what I'm going to do is at the end of this video, I'm going to put out a few games that I found out that are the low, medium, or low to medium range games for you, because that was another topic that came up was, I can't find the games. I don't know what games there are. And so I used Every, and I made pictures of it. I just copied my screen so you could see the games and the volatility. So you know what I'm talking about. I don't know why Every does it. They do it on a lot of their games, but for some reason they don't do it on every game. I don't know how that works out or the whys behind it, but it is something that I use as a source, and overall it's done pretty good for me there. So another question that came up was, what games do we play specifically? What games are we looking for? Well, I'd mentioned that Wicked Wheel, and that would certainly be one of them. Really, the one that got us started was a game called Crazy Money Deluxe 2, I believe it was. It was on Radiance of the Sea. It's one of the few games that I will actually bet the max on, and it's because of the way the machine's set up, which we'll get into. There's a real difference on how a machine is set up and what it pays if you're not paying attention. So again, stay tuned because I'm going to cover that here also a little bit later. Little Shop of Horrors. That is a medium volatility game, and we absolutely love that game. We played it on Wonder, and we're going back on Wonder in November, and I'm sure we'll be playing it. They have 5 of those games. They have 3 in the smoking section and 2 in the non-smoking area. That's one of the few ships that have both a smoking casino and a non-smoking casino. And that was also brought up about the smoke in the casinos. Some casinos would do like half of the casino is smoking and half is non-smoking. If you're a non-smoker, you know that the smoke does not obey the visible line there. It's in the casino. But it does help a little bit. So other games we like, Pure Gold. Pure Gold is one that's done really well for me, betting just the minimum. It's like 40 cents. And again, this is one of those to where the gameplay and looking at how the machine is set up will really dictate that why I believe you should do low. And I'm going to explain that one also about the same time explaining the other one there about how those machines work. So I'm looking forward to showing you that. Another game we like is Attack from the Planet Moolah. That the original game, we like the other games too. We try to stick again to the minimum bet. The more bells and whistles on it, generally speaking, the higher volatility it goes. But that basic game, that's a pretty low volatile game. It'll treat you pretty good. Double Diamond Deluxe, that basic 3-reel type game, one line. Some of the other ones ain't bad, but if you're betting it and it's like you're going, well, it's a quarter, it's not a penny. I like to play the penny machines. Well, if you're only paying, it's like a 2 max or a 3 max, you're only betting 50 cents or 75 cents. And usually those are also very low volatility games. Again, when you're looking at it and you're seeing a progressive, or you're seeing one of those games that has a chance to win a jackpot and it's saying it's like, $200,000 or something like that, $500,000, that takes a while to build up. So you're adding to your volatility on those. So if you see those big ones and you're thinking, well, I'm going to play smart and play this one I have a chance to win $500,000 on versus one I have $5,000 on, the one playing $5,000 as a max, that's going to hit a lot sooner and overall steadier than a game that's going to take 500,000, because those games are set to win. If it's going to do that, it means it has to take in a whole lot of money before it ever gives that out. It has to have a balance. I mean, yes, there's a random number generator, but again, the machines are programmed to make sure that they win. So take that into account. It's a pretty big deal. Oh, Buffalo. We like Buffalo. Buffalo's a good game. The basic one where it's got the hit by number. And again, that almost takes us right directly into what I was talking about as far as the games and understanding what's on the machine, because how the machine plays, there's a lot going on. And I'm going to start with the crazy money. I brought that one up early and why we play that one at max. One is that on Radiance, the max is only $1.60. So I'm usually playing like under $1, and $1.60 isn't that crazy, except for I played it enough to where I know the machine and I know that it's not going to eat me alive. And I played this machine and found it long before I was looking at volatility. So that was a big part of how that sort of stayed with us there and kind of become a go-to game for us there. So what I'm saying with this is that if you look at the machine and you look at the jackpots, it'll tell you, and it'll show these max numbers on here. This is your jackpots. But it says right on there, if you're not looking, that it's if you bet max. If you don't bet max, you're going to get a different number. So I wouldn't play that game if it was a higher number that I was betting. You'll get something if you're not betting the max, but I've watched the game play and it's reduced enough to where I don't feel like it pays versus what it takes. I think it messes with the volatility, and really I think the people that are betting low on that are not betting the max, are really just feeding the maximum for the people that's making the progressives go higher for someone who is betting max to get that. So that's something you want to look at, is if that machine has that number on there where you have to bet max. Some machines are still okay if you don't, but I'm just saying there's a difference. So my example of the machines that don't, I would go back to Little Shop of Horrors. Those numbers will change as far as what you're hitting. It's relative to the bet. So if it's an $800, which is the max for what they call the Seymour, it's one of the characters there, an $800 payout on that. That's the max on that one. Well, it just goes up. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the bet, but that also goes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times the bet. And so when one person hits it, all of them will reset to the basic number starting point, which I want to say I think is 400 on that machine for the Seymour, 100 for the Audrey. So, but that is a fair balance. It isn't taking advantage of you. And because the machine is low volatility or medium volatility, and quite frankly, I feel like most of the time it plays better than that. But that's just my opinion. It's not as big of a risk. But I do pay attention to what's up there. So when I'm looking at those bonuses, what I like to do is I'll look at like what the major is now. And I say that sometimes it's the next step down, because some of these have, mini, minor, major. Some of them, they've got megas on it and supers and, grands and all that. So it depends. When I'm looking at Little Shop of Horrors, a lot of time I'm actually looking at what the Audrey is. And so it's kind of the third down, third up, the middle of the pack for the hits. And its base is $100. So if that's been recently hit, and I've got another machine right next to it that's got an Audrey bonus that's sitting again at the minimum bet of $140, I'm going to play that one. It's random. It doesn't mean it's any closer to hitting it, but it does mean it's been a while since it's hit. It does show the time has went by since someone's hit that last. And I do think personally that's a factor as to when it's hit last. I have chased before, and that's a mistake. I did that on this very game with the Mushnik. Again, I'm talking in terms you haven't played the game. What are you talking about? Hopefully you've seen the movie. It's also awesome too. And the Mushnik, a lot of times if it's in the 30 ranges, I feel like it's got a good chance of hitting. Well, I played it one time and it was in the 60s, and I played it for a couple of hours. I loved the game. I always play that one for a couple of hours. And that thing wouldn't hit. I stopped myself. I wanted to curse there. I really did. That it wouldn't hit. It wouldn't hit. But it was my fault for chasing it, and I wasn't really having that great of a day. And instead of moving to a different machine, which I should have done, I really just stayed with that machine and did probably more chasing than what I should have. So Anyway, the next game I wanted to bring up, for similar reasons I brought up, was Pure Gold. The reason I like Pure Gold, and I say that this is one to play, and I go back to what those reels say for the jackpots. First of all, the machines that I've played on, they're usually the minimum bet's 40 cents. But when you look at the jackpots that are up there, those are the same, whether I'm betting 40 cents or 480, I think is the max on that. So in my mind, if you're trying for the big number, which I want to say that one maxes out at 3,000 for their major version, which is pretty darn hard to hit, and then I think 10,000 is the max on the other one. That's going to be the same. That's the same number no matter what you're betting. Is it harder to hit? Yeah, but it's hard to hit anyway. So if I'm kind of taking a lottery at it, I'd rather it took less of my money to do that. And the game has treated me really well. I played one time on that machine for like 12 hours, and let me explain why. I was stuck in St. Louis trying to get back home, and there was snow covering the road, so we pulled over there, and we thought we'd pop into the casino, and we started playing the game. We were just having a good time sitting there talking, really just my wife and I pushing buttons. Casino wasn't that busy because of the poor weather, and we didn't want to necessarily get a room. We were just decided we were going to try to wait this out, and so we just started playing. And it was 12, I think it went like 12 and a half hours later. We ended up losing $300, and actually, if the first 100 took like 2-3 hours, and then the first 200 went within like 3-4 hours. But that last 100 just lasted like forever. It like the rest of the way, and until it finally, it kind of gave out. But we were within our budget, what we were looking to do when we decided to play it. We're usually about 300 if we're just doing something like that. Is right around the max we care to go. And we were able to play literally the entire time up until we were ready to leave. It was like, okay, we're getting close. And quite frankly, I made the mistake of we're getting close, and I started betting higher. And when you start betting higher, then you start messing with the volatility, makes it harder. You're having better chances of winning jackpots, but you're spending more money to win a jackpot that's no bigger one way or the other. So hopefully I explained that clear enough for you there. So another game that I like, and it certainly depends on the reels, is a game called Hexbreaker. And there's a few other games out there, Juju, something or another. Some of those games that you see like on your phone you can play will have those. And what it is it's a reels that they climb as you hit, and there's like 5 reels, and as you hit, it can go up and up towards whatever the numbers are. The 5 numbers at the top. The middle one is the chance to win the big bonus, and then depending on what the other ones are, those will change. And the lower numbers that are up there, those reels will go up faster. If they're big numbers, those reels will climb slower. So I like to play this game if I can see that if the reels are up, because it's like 3 is the minimum. Well, if they're like in the 5 range across the board, that's got a much better chance of giving you the line hits that are going to be worthwhile, and they're going to go up. So it's like you don't really want the thing to hit when it starts getting to where they're all real high up there. But of course, that's when that hits, is when you're like, oh, don't hit, and it hits. But that's a fun game. It's an inexpensive game. Again, I just play the minimum, which I believe on that one was 80 cents. And if the reels are down to where it's like on a 3 on the first line, and the number's high, and it's not going to hit for a while, it's not going to move up at the pace, I'll just leave that game alone, and then I will just come back to it and check later. So you'll see me going around pressing the buttons to see where it's at as far as where those reels are and how close they are to hitting. And certainly that middle one, when you get towards the jackpot, when the cat goes off and meow and flips over and gives you the chance to win the bigger money. If that one's at the very top, I'll take that into account to sit down. If it's even the second one down, it could take forever. Even when it's at the top, it could take a while. But I'll spend a little bit more time if the reels are set up and that one's up high. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about, someone had brought up, was of course, if you don't stay within your budget, you can get yourself into some problems. I mean, some big problems. And they were concerned, when you're seeing free cruises, I don't want anybody to overdo what their budget is and chasing points and chasing cruises, because that's a way to get in trouble, and it's trouble that you don't want. I mean, it can ruin lives. So if you're doing it, you have to have a budget. You have to be able to when it comes time and you're wanting to hit a number and you're close, but you're down, you're done with your budget. You can't just go, well, I'm going to just throw another 100 or 200 in. I mean, you do whatever you want, but that's not the way to play the game the smartest. That is to make sure you stay within your budget. And if you took anything away from getting these free cruises, is that you don't have to hit prime to get a free cruise offer. You do not have to hit the highest number to get an instant cruise. Well, you have to hit a high number to get an instant cruise certificate, but you don't have to hit that high number per sailing to get mail offers through most of the cruise lines. Now, I'm talking about specifically Royal Caribbean, but as others have pointed out, Carnival has a really good program, and that's one that you can take advantage of. Princess Cruises you can do that on. There's several of them that you can do this on. Now, I looked up for someone who was asking about P&O, and that's obviously in flux with Carnival getting ready to take over. Couldn't find anything online. I ended up messaging them, just typing it in, and I was told that they do not currently have a program going on for like a program match or anything like that. I would imagine that's going to change when Carnival takes over, but until then, I certainly don't want to speak for them. But obviously, if you want to gamble, and that's what you're looking for is free cruises, that's not the way to get it. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, and I brought this up on the video I'd done, the last one where I talked about I went to Virgin and I just took the offer I got from Royal, sent it to them, and in 2 days, I got an offer for a free cruise, the exact one I'd asked for. It's not the only one that does that. So again, Royal Caribbean does it, but also Carnival is really good about doing that. I mentioned before, MSC has a program. I'm still learning what that program is. Princess has a program. Norwegian's program, NSC, they're not. It really don't have. They don't have a good match for that going on. So you're not going to really see much there. And quite frankly, that's probably one of the harder ones to even get enough points to get some of the free perks. Holland America looks like they're going to be good. I was looking at that one actually earlier today to kind of verify where they're at. They seem very eager to get out there and get their cruise customers that like to play the casinos. Because a lot of people will spend too much and they don't follow that budget, or just have a better budget than I do, I guess. But anyway, I want you to know, if you're looking for a free cruise, the things that you need to do it, looking for the right machine. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put up on the screen some different games that we play, like I said I would. And I'm going to show the volatility of those games on there that's straight from the manufacturer. My voice is going to sound a little different because I'm going to put these on the screen and I'm going to use a different microphone to kind of voice over what's being said there, just so I can kind of talk as I'm showing you what the pictures are and what I'm looking at. So the lowest volatility you're going to find here is Money Slam. This is a 1. If you look at the bottom right on this, you're going to see it says 1 to 5. This is a 1. This is a game to play. Now this next game here, it's going to be a little bit more volatile. And I want you to notice that where it says volatility, it says a 2 with an asterisk. And if you look down, what that says is that it depends on the amount you're wagering. So that's a big deal there. Now these two games here are rated as a 3 out of 5, same as Little Shop of Horrors. So again, this is a game that you see quite a bit of, and it'd be one that I'd be fairly confident in go ahead and trying out. Now this next game, Zoltar, this is only a 2 of 5 and a 3 reel game, which is a good sign, except it's a 25-cent bet with 9 lines. So for a minimum bet, if you're going to play this one, you're going to probably want to make sure that you've got the budget to handle it. Most of the games I'm talking about, I'm betting under $1. If you're looking to bet more but you want to stay within the minimums, I would tell you this is probably something you want to consider. But again, for me, it's probably not one I would play just because I don't like to bet that much. Now here with the money line, this is one that, again, this is only a 2 of 5 and it lets you play the penny. So this is one that if you can find it, it's going to be worth your time to play, and it's probably going to let you play a pretty long time. It's a good one to try to rack up points, and exactly what I look for in a game to try to get those free cruises, something I can play a good long time. So if you happen to see this one, I'd probably sit down and try it if I were you. Now Super Fiesta, that's one, this is a fun game, and I've seen this one around a little bit. Just be careful, you go out on your versions that you've got. But again, this is a 3 of 5 in that same area as that Little Shop of Horrors. So for me, this would be a game that I would probably recommend that you give a shot to. Now Power Deluxe, this is another one that I've seen around quite a bit, and I would definitely tell you to keep an eye out for it, because again, this is only a 2 of 5 volatility. So this is one that's going to, again, let you play a long time without having the big bet. So if you see this game, keep this on your radar as one to bounce to, because if people are wanting to play it, it's going to fill up, because a lot of people know that these are low volatility games, and I think you're going to find that they do tend to fill up faster. Now I added these here. This is another. Both these games are games that they're low volatility. They're 2 of 5, but again, this is another one of those games to where it's a quarter and 9 lines. So again, a little bit too rich for my blood and what I play. But I know a lot of people have a little better budget than I do, or want to play just a higher level and get points faster. And if you're going to do it, I would tell you that one of those types of games there, it's a 2 volatility. I mean, you really can't beat that. So if you have that budget, that would be a game to look out for. Now, Wicked Wheel for both the Panda and the Fiery Phoenix, these I really like these games. I mentioned these earlier. They're only 2 of 5 in the volatility. They look very, very similar when you play it. I have no idea why, but I feel like the Panda does a little better, at least when I've played it. There's probably no difference. It was just the session I was in. But again, these are both low volatility games, and if you're looking for something that you can have your budget go a ways, that you can keep yourself under control and gain those points without losing your butt, this is a game you're probably going to find me on, quite frankly. Now this Casper game, this is one that's again low volatility. It's only 2 of 5, but again, it's one of those quarter games that has 9 lines. I bring it up because not only is it low volatility, but there is another version of that Casper game out that's more that video type version of it, and that plays between a 2 and a 3 as well. So if you see that one out there, I didn't have a video I could show you that, but I wanted to let you know that Casper game was pretty good too, and played all right. Now this one here, Hot Stuff, again, this is one of those quarter games that will go 9 lines on it, be a little more expensive, but a lot of times those Hot Stuff games, the other ones with the reels that are more the video type version, those seem to also play somewhere in that 3 range. But that's going to be the last one of those I show you. I'm going to get back to one more lesson here, back with the my favorite game. So pay attention. As you know, Little Shop of Horrors, I've talked about it. It's my favorite game. This is the game that I play. It's a 3 of 5, and I'll play it almost every chance I get. But there's another version of this, and this is called the Director's Cut, and it looks very similar. It just looks like it's one that's in a new cabinet, which a lot of times these games do. They'll just put it in a new cabinet, and everything's supposed to be fine. But in this particular case, it's not fine. That game is much more volatile, and don't play it. If you didn't get a chance to see those other 2 videos that I put out that are about cruising and getting free cruises, that video I'm actually going to put them both right here, probably just like one on each side, and then you can go ahead and jump in there and watch those. They're both, I think, a little over half an hour long, but well worth your time if you're interested about learning more about this process. So thank you for watching. Oh, and like and subscribe.